What if I told you that you could plant your entire tray of seedlings in the time it takes to brew a morning cup of coffee? And what if I said you wouldn't even have to bend over once? It sounds impossible, right? For anyone who has spent hours on their knees with an aching back and dirt under their nails, the idea of effortless planting seems like a dream. Well, today we are going to make that dream a reality. We are building an incredible, super simple DIY device that will completely change the way you plant your garden. It's a project that costs just a few dollars, but will give you back hours of your life. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the complete plans for a tool that saves your back, saves your time, and makes spring planting an absolute joy instead of a dreaded chore. Have you ever wished for a tool like this? Let me know in the comments if you're tired of the old way of planting. For years, I did it the hard way. Every spring, it was the same ritual. I'd carry out my precious trays of seedlings, full of hope for the season ahead. But that hope quickly turned into a long, slow, painful process. I'd be on my hands and knees with a small hand trowel, digging a hole, carefully placing a seedling, backfilling the dirt, and then measuring out the distance to the next spot. My knees would ache, my back would scream, and the whole process felt inefficient and exhausting. It's the traditional way, the way we've seen it done for generations. But I kept thinking, there has to be a better way. Commercial farms have huge, complex machines, but what about the home gardener? I started looking at old, antique farm tools and modern ergonomic designs, and an idea began to form. What if I could combine the simplicity of a hollow tube with a few clever features to create a stand-up planter? The goal was simple, to make planting as easy as walking through the garden. So, what is the secret behind this seemingly magical planter? The core concept is wonderfully simple, which is the beauty of it. We are essentially creating a long, hollow tube that does 3 jobs in one single motion. First, it pokes a perfect hole in your prepared soil. Second, it acts as a chute to deliver the seedling directly into that hole. And third, a simple mechanism helps settle the plant into place. The materials list is the best part because it's short, cheap, and everything can be found at a single hardware store. The main body is a length of PVC pipe, which is ideal because it's lightweight, strong, weatherproof, and very easy to work with. You'll also need a T-fitting for the handle, perhaps a wider coupling to act as a funnel, and a few nuts and bolts. You don't need a fancy workshop for this. A simple handsaw, a drill, and a measuring tape are pretty much all it takes. The entire cost should be less than a couple of fancy coffees, yet this tool will provide you with years of service. It's a perfect example of how a little bit of ingenuity can create immense value from the most common of materials. All right, let's get our hands dirty and start building. The very first and most critical step is creating the main shaft of our planter. This involves measuring and cutting your main piece of PVC pipe. The length here is the most important ergonomic decision you will make. The entire point of this tool is to eliminate bending over, so the pipe must be custom fit to your height. The best way to do this is to stand up straight in a comfortable stance and hold the pipe vertically next to you. The top of the pipe, where your handle will eventually go, should sit at a comfortable hand level, around your waist or slightly below. There's no magic number here. It's all about what feels natural to you. Once you have your measurement, mark it clearly. When you make the cut, aim for a straight 90-degree angle. After cutting, it's a good idea to take a file or a piece of sandpaper and smooth out the edges. This process, known as deburring, removes any plastic shavings and ensures that your seedlings won't snag on their way down the tube later on. Take your time here. As the saying goes, measure twice, cut once. Now we move to the business end of the tool. This is the part that does the digging, and a small change here makes a huge difference in performance. We need to create the mouth of the planter. To do this, we are going to cut the bottom of the pipe at a sharp 45-degree angle. This angled cut is the absolute key to the tool's effectiveness. Instead of a blunt end that would just compress the soil, this sharp, angled tip acts like the point of a spear or a spade. It allows the tool to effortlessly pierce the soil, even if it's a bit compacted, with minimal downward pressure from you. It slices into the ground and carves out a clean, perfectly sized hole for your seedling's root ball. When making this cut, safety is paramount. Make sure the pipe is securely clamped down so it doesn't roll while you're sawing. The result should be a pointed, sharp end that looks ready to work. You'll be amazed at how easily this simple modification allows the tool to glide into the earth, turning a tedious task into a quick and satisfying action. It's a simple bit of physics that makes all the difference. Okay, our tool can now make a perfect hole in the ground. That's great. But how do we get the seedling from the top of the tube to the bottom without it getting stuck or damaged? This is where the clever part comes in, the ejection or release mechanism. We need a way to gently guide and push the seedling into its new home. The simplest solution is to use a handle-operated plunger. This can be constructed from a long wooden dowel or a smaller diameter piece of pipe that fits loosely inside the main tube. At the top, you'll attach this plunger to a handle or a trigger that you can easily operate with your thumb or fingers. When you drop a seedling into the planter and push it into the soil, you then press the trigger. This action pushes the plunger down, which in turn gently nudges the seedling and its soil plug out of the angled mouth at the bottom and into the hole. This prevents the root ball from getting jammed inside the tube and ensures a smooth, quick release every single time. It's a simple, foolproof system that makes the process incredibly reliable and fast. No more shaking or tapping the tool to get the plant out. A tool is only as good as it is comfortable to use. So now, let's focus on the top end and build a handle and funnel that make this a joy to operate. The handle is your main point of contact, so it needs to be ergonomic. The easiest way to create a sturdy, two-handed grip is by attaching a PVC T-fitting to the top of the main pipe. This gives you a wide, stable handle that allows for excellent control and leverage without straining your wrists. Below the handle, we'll add a funnel. This is a crucial feature for speed and efficiency. You can use a specific PVC fitting called a reducer coupling, or you can get creative and cut the top off a plastic soda bottle to create a wide opening. This funnel makes it so you don't have to be perfectly accurate when dropping in a seedling. You can just quickly drop it in the general direction of the opening, and the funnel will guide it right into the main tube. This small addition dramatically speeds up your workflow, as it minimizes fumbling and allows you to maintain a steady, rhythmic planting pace. It turns the entire operation into a smooth, assembly line-like process. One of the most common mistakes new gardeners make is planting their seedlings at the wrong depth. Too shallow and the roots dry out. Too deep and the stem can rot. Our DIY tool can solve this problem automatically with a simple addition: a depth stop. A depth stop is a physical impediment on the side of the planter that prevents you from pushing it too far into the soil. This guarantees that every single seedling is planted at the exact same optimal depth. The easiest way to create one is to drill a hole through the pipe a few inches up from the bottom tip and insert a long bolt, securing it with nuts on both sides. You can adjust the planting depth simply by moving the bolt up or down. For example, if your seedling plugs are 3 inches tall, you set the bolt so that the tool makes a hole just over 3 inches deep. This level of consistency is nearly impossible to achieve by hand with a trowel, but with this tool, it becomes foolproof. It takes all the guesswork out of the equation and gives your plants the perfect start they need for healthy root development. We've solved for ease of use and planting depth, but what about the spacing between plants? Getting that right is crucial for preventing overcrowding and ensuring each plant has enough room to grow. Constantly pulling out a measuring tape is a slow and tedious process. So let's build a ruler right into our tool with a spacing marker. This is another brilliantly simple hack. All you need to do is attach a small rod or a thin piece of wood horizontally near the bottom of the planter. The length of this rod should be equal to your desired spacing. For example, 12 inches for tomatoes. The way it works is genius. You make your first hole and plant your seedling. Then, to make the next hole, you simply place the tip of your spacing marker into the hole you just made. This automatically positions the planter at the perfect distance for the next plant. You just repeat the process. Plant, align the marker, plant, align the marker. You can create perfectly straight, evenly spaced rows without a single measurement after the first one. It's a feature that saves an incredible amount of time and mental energy. Our super planter is now fully functional, but let's add a few final touches to make it perfect and truly our own. First, go over the entire tool and sand down any sharp plastic edges or rough cuts, especially around the handle and the mouth. A smooth finish makes it safer and more pleasant to use. Now for the fun part, customization. I highly recommend painting your planter a bright, vibrant color like yellow, orange, or red. This isn't just for looks. It makes the tool easy to spot if you lay it down in the grass, preventing it from getting lost or run over by a lawnmower. You can also add some cushioned bike grips or wrap the handle with tape for extra comfort during long planting sessions. Think about other ways to adapt the design. You could build a second, smaller diameter version for planting small seeds like beans or corn. You could create interchangeable spacing markers for different types of vegetables. This tool isn't just a static design, it's a platform for your own creativity. Make it work perfectly for you and your garden. And there you have it. In just a short amount of time, using a few dollars in common parts, you have built a professional-grade gardening tool that will fundamentally change one of the most laborious garden tasks. No more sore knees from kneeling on the hard ground. No more aching back from bending over hundreds of times. Just fast, efficient, and perfectly consistent planting. We took a simple length of PVC pipe and, with a few clever modifications, transformed it into a high-efficiency planting machine. It makes the hole, guides the seedling, ensures perfect depth, and measures the spacing, all in one single, easy, standing motion. It's proof that the best solutions are often the simplest ones. Thank you so much for building along with me today. If this video just saved your back for all future gardening seasons, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more game-changing DIY projects. It truly helps the channel more than you know. And now I have a question for you. What is the one gardening chore you absolutely despise and wish you had a special tool for? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas.